Jamie Dornan speaks out publicly. The baby in Dakota Johnson's belly is not mine. The breaking point. The morning sun had barely risen over London when the world awoke to the headline that shattered months of speculation. Jamie Dornan breaks his silence. The baby is not mine. For weeks, social media had been in chaos. Ever since Dakota Johnson's unexpected pregnancy became public, fans and tabloids alike had been obsessed with one question: who is the father? Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed it was her ex, Chris Martin, while others were convinced it was Jamie Dornan, her former 50 Shades co-star. Photos of them meeting secretly in London just before the news broke had only added fuel to the fire. Now, after months of silence, Jamie Dornan had finally decided to speak. The statement that shocked the world. At a press event in Dublin for his new project, reporters surrounded Jamie with questions. His expression was calm but firm, his tone steady, a man clearly prepared for this moment. When a journalist asked directly, "Jamie, can you comment on the rumors about Dakota Johnson's pregnancy?" he took a deep breath. "I've seen the stories. I've heard everything people are saying," he began. "But I want to be absolutely clear, the baby in Dakota's belly is not mine." The room fell into silence. Cameras clicked rapidly. Reporters glanced at each other, unsure how to respond. Jamie continued. "I have immense respect for Dakota. She's a wonderful person and an incredible actress. But what's happening in her life right now is her journey, not mine." And just like that, the fantasy that millions of fans had built, the idea of Jamie and Dakota sharing a secret child, vanished in a single sentence. The weight of rumor. Ever since the pregnancy photos surfaced, Jamie's world had been anything but peaceful. His name trended daily across platforms. Every glance, every word, every movement was dissected. Even his wife, Amelia Warner, faced relentless questions from the media. A close friend revealed. It reached a point where he couldn't open his phone without seeing his name linked to Dakota. He loves his family deeply, and this rumor started to threaten that peace. Jamie had initially hoped silence would make the gossip fade, but instead, it grew louder. When tabloids published a headline claiming Jamie Dornan to be a father again, secret love child with Dakota Johnson, it crossed a line. His publicist advised him, "It's time to end this once and for all." Behind closed doors. Those close to the actor say he wrestled with the decision for days. He didn't want to hurt Dakota or make her situation harder. But the whispers were damaging, not only to him but to his family. "He's a private man," another insider said. "He doesn't do drama, but when you're accused of something that affects your wife and kids, you have to stand up." Amelia reportedly supported his decision. She told a friend, "He doesn't owe the world explanations, but he owes the truth to himself." The couple was seen walking hand in hand through the streets of London the night before the press event, their faces serious but united. It was clear, they were going to face this storm together. Dakota Johnson's silence. When Jamie's statement hit the headlines, all eyes turned to Dakota Johnson. Would she respond? Would she clarify? She didn't. Her representative issued a brief comment. Dakota is focused on her health and upcoming projects. She appreciates privacy during this time. That only deepened the mystery. Fans began analyzing every photo, every gesture. Was her silence agreement or denial? A producer who has worked with Dakota told Vanity Fair, "Dakota's always been fiercely private. If she's not talking, it's because she doesn't want to add noise. She doesn't owe anyone an explanation." Still, the speculation continued to swirl. Chris Martin's reaction. In Malibu, Chris Martin was spotted leaving a recording studio the same day Jamie's interview aired. When asked about Dakota, he simply smiled and said, "I wish her all the happiness in the world." Friends close to Chris, however, hinted that he had known the truth all along. Chris and Dakota had one last conversation before they split, said a source. It was emotional, honest, and final. He knew what was happening, and he accepted it with grace. But whether that meant he was the father or simply offering emotional closure, no one could tell. A divided public. Jamie's declaration split Hollywood in half. Some praised him for being honest and protecting his family. Others accused him of trying to distance himself too quickly from Dakota's story. One fan tweeted, "He didn't owe us anything, but saying it publicly like that, it hurts. It sounds cold." Another replied, "He had to. People were destroying his marriage over a rumor. Imagine being accused of fathering someone else's baby when you're a father of 3 already." For a while, the internet became a battlefield of opinions, love, anger, and disappointment clashing under one name, Jamie Dornan. The emotional toll. Insiders say Jamie felt conflicted after the interview. While he stood by his words, he also understood the emotional impact they might have on Dakota. Jamie never wanted to embarrass her, a friend explained. But he couldn't let his silence be taken as confirmation anymore. It was tearing him apart. Later that week, he reportedly sent a handwritten note to Dakota. What it said remains unknown, but one insider claimed it was kind, respectful, and full of empathy. He told her he wished her peace and strength, that he would always value what they shared, but that their lives had taken different paths. Dakota, true to form, didn't reply publicly, but she was seen days later, walking in Santa Monica, hand on her belly, looking calm, almost serene. A family's defense. Meanwhile, Amelia Warner, Jamie's wife, released a rare comment through a trusted journalist. "We've been through rumors before. What matters is trust. I know my husband, and our family stands together." The statement silenced much of the online hate. Fans began to rally behind Amelia, calling her the quiet strength behind Jamie's storm. Jamie himself told The Guardian shortly afterward, "At the end of the day, family is everything. When lies threaten that, you have to remind the world who you really are." Hollywood reacts. The reaction among fellow actors was mixed but largely sympathetic. Sam Heughan, Jamie's longtime friend, posted a cryptic message. "Truth has its time. Proud of you, brother." Meanwhile, several industry figures praised Dakota's dignity in handling the scrutiny. A director who worked with her said, "She's choosing silence, and that's strength. These people are human. They don't owe us a soap opera." Still, the tabloids refused to let go. New rumors emerged daily. That Dakota had left the country, that she was in contact with Chris again, that Jamie's team had asked her to stay quiet. It was endless, the kind of storm that only fame could create. Jamie's emotional confession. A few days after the public statement, Jamie sat down for a TV interview promoting his new drama. Halfway through, the host cautiously brought up the controversy. Jamie sighed deeply. "I know people are fascinated by Dakota and me because of what we shared on screen," he said. "But that was art. Real life is different. She deserves to live hers without being tied to mine." He paused, his voice softening. "I'll always care about her. She's part of my story. But right now, my world is my wife, my kids, and my work. That's where my heart is." The audience applauded gently. For the first time, the tone shifted from scandal to sincerity. Dakota's quiet response. A week later, Dakota returned to social media with a photo of the ocean at sunset. The caption read, "Peace doesn't always come from answers. Sometimes it's born in acceptance." It was the only thing she said, yet it felt like a reply. Within hours, Jamie quietly liked the post. The internet erupted again, but this time the tone was different. Instead of anger, there was understanding, a sense that both had finally found closure in their own ways. Lessons from a storm. Behind the headlines, what remained was a story about two people once bound by an on-screen fantasy that fans refused to let go of. Jamie's courage to speak and Dakota's grace to stay silent became two sides of the same truth. They were both moving on. A Hollywood columnist summed it up best. In a world where gossip sells more than truth, Jamie and Dakota chose honesty and silence, and somehow, that became their most powerful act. The new chapter. Today, Jamie Dornan continues to work on new films, spending time with his daughters and staying out of the spotlight. He's more private than ever, more protective of what matters. Dakota, meanwhile, is preparing for motherhood, surrounded by her family, friends, and an unspoken sense of peace. Neither of them owes anyone an explanation anymore. The world may still speculate, but they've both chosen to live quietly, beyond the noise. Epilogue. Truth and Grace. Weeks later, Jamie was seen leaving a cafe in Belfast. A reporter shouted after him, "Do you regret what you said?" He stopped, turned, and smiled faintly. No, telling the truth is never something to regret. And as he walked away, cameras flashing, one could almost hear the echo of Dakota's earlier words, soft but timeless. Some things deserve silence. Perhaps that's how their story ends, not in scandal or confession, but in two simple choices: truth and grace.